Oh,
I'm working.
we are live now.
Uh-oh.
It's just started, and I don't want to stop it after we go here. I just wanted to warn you. Okay, I've got the light I'm going to add in here. Hello, Chris. It's very nice to see you here in Washington, D.C.
Thank you, Andrew Castle.
This is going to be very bright when it comes on. I'm going to turn it down, so just be warned.
Oh, my God.
I warned you.
Oh.
Okay,
All right.
That's a little better.
Mood lighting.
Yes. Okay, AGU 18. How many American Geophysical Union annual fall meetings have you been to?
Too many.
Too many?
No, actually, they're all fun.
Yes.
First one in D.C. Several, I don't know, 3, 4, 5.
And it's oh, gracious. Yeah, I guess they all sort of blend together after a while with all the other conferences that you go to. What makes AGU so special for you as a scientist?
Well, there's so many people here. There's tens of thousands of people, and so you see everybody, you know. I see the people I work with more often than I see them at home, and I see them right here, actually.
It is a wonderful way for scientists to sort of like come together as a tribe, just be surrounded by science, talk science 24/7.
Yeah, and to have these group meetings that wouldn't otherwise occur, you know, by telephone sometimes, but it's just for impromptu meetings, it's really, there's no substitute for AGU.
The collaboration, I think, is the ultimate thing. The posters, the presentations, the science that you hear in the sessions is one thing. That's all the past. But the collaborating is the future, the work that you're going to do.
Oh, it is. And in fact, tomorrow we're going to be collaborating in a secret cabal to determine the time of the next HAARP campaign. And will it be February? Will it be March? We don't know. We'll find out tomorrow.
Tomorrow you will know. So you do use HAARP. You are one of the researchers that goes to the facility and turns it on and aims the radio beams of the ionosphere, and then what happens?
Yeah, that's right. I'm not just a scientist. I'm also a member of HAARP. You know, so yeah, we turn on the HAARP. It's a gigantic shortwave radio station. In essence, it causes some changes, limited changes to the ionosphere, creates some rather unique effects that mimic some natural effects in the ionosphere. Some of them are helpful, some of them are not so helpful for radio communication. And if we can create some of these naturally occurring effects at a time of our choosing, it allows us to study those effects and work out mitigation techniques or learn more about them, so we can work with them as we try to communicate or use the ionosphere for radar and other forms of for other applications.
So as people are going through their normal life down here on the crust of the planet, we might not understand how complicated the atmosphere really is.
Oh, that's right. It's a very complicated thing. We have space weather, you know, up at 100 kilometers or so altitude, right where we see the Aurora in Fairbanks. That's about the region. And so there's various complicated space weather effects that affect real life things, our GPS navigation, our over-the-horizon radar, our long distance communication without the aid of satellites, or even with the aid of satellites. That space weather has real effects on our day-to-day life that might be hidden from a lot of us, at least until the point that it stops working or GPS bounces all over the map.
Like so many things, like my automobile works fine. When it doesn't work, that check engine light comes on. I don't know what's going on with that. I have to take it to an expert.
That's right. You just don't think about the ionosphere until it does something that causes our gadgets to stop working.
Well, I don't, but you do.
I do, yes.
When you see the Aurora, do you see more than pretty colors? Are you doing math in your mind? Are you doing science?
Oh,
when
you
see
know,
it?
I never even see the Aurora with my own eyes. I see it with radar, and so I see it in radio. That's usually because I don't stay up late enough, or if I am, I'm at the computer. So I see it on radar. So people don't
Is
realize
it beautiful on radar as well?
Oh, absolutely. It's just as beautiful with any colors I want. I can just change the color map, but it's. Yeah, the radio aurora. People don't realize that the aurora can be very reflective or can absorb radio waves depending on which frequency we're using. And that's actually one of the reasons why the Geophysical Institute was founded, was because we have over-the-horizon radars looking to the north and to the west for incoming planes and other things. And one of the things they found is that not only can the aurora interfere with over-the-horizon radar, it can make it appear as if there are a lot of targets coming over the polar cap. And so we thought it would be a good idea to study the aurora with radio, and here we are today.
That sounds like, the thing you just described sort of sounds like an atmospheric mirage.
Like an atmospheric mirage.
Like,
yes.
Oh my God, the oasis is right over the hill there, but then you go there and there's no water.
That's actually quite accurate.
You can use that in your classes.
I'll use it.
How long have you been a member of HAARP? How long have you been going down and using the facility?
I've been using the facility since 2008, back when I was a graduate student at UAF, and have been using it ever since.
One of the things I think is so great about the research that you do is you want to include the world. You want these people that are out there using their ham radios, and first off, our audience might not know that ham radio is still a thing. You know, you've seen the movies from the 1950s, the kids in their bedroom like, hello Australia, but they're still out there. Ham radio operators are still out there.
Yeah, not only are the old ham radio operators still out there, just even older, but now we have a new generation of ham radio operators, and they're using small software-defined radios, and they're connected to the internet, and they're all talking to each other, and they're using new digital modes to basically create like their own version of the internet in some ways. And so it's in some ways ham radio has never been healthier, and so because now the HAARP is basically one of the biggest shortwave radios on the planet, we have an opportunity to do citizen science in ways that are not really duplicated in many other fields. I think astronomy is perhaps the only other field that I can think of where normally when scientists are doing their experiments, they're doing them in isolation among other scientists, and the public really doesn't have an opportunity to be involved until they read an article in a newspaper or in a magazine somewhere, or maybe a scientific journal publication. But we've got this big shortwave radio, and just like astronomy, you can't hide the sky from people. People can look up with their telescopes, they can contribute observations. Similarly, ham radio operators or shortwave radio listeners, they can listen to HAARP and they can report back, and they can report new things and actually participate in the experiments on a level maybe that's not quite the same as the scientists at the facility, but in a way that's important nonetheless.
This seems, the more that I hear scientists talk over the past few years, citizen science keeps coming to the fore. What has been the change in the scientific community that has opened it up to everyday people, quote unquote?
Well, in fact, citizen science has been around for a long time. In fact, the first predictions for tides arose from basically people mailing in their observations of the tides back before there were telegraph lines or radio communication. And then back in the early days of the United States, it was citizen scientists reporting the weather conditions that led to the understanding of weather fronts and other aspects of weather that otherwise just would never have been known.
Would Thomas Jefferson be a citizen scientist?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he was actually, yeah, indeed.
And so now it's just, so it's been around the whole time. Does it just have a name now?
Yeah,
or
just
is it a thing?
now it has a name, and now that we're connected by the internet, it's in some ways making it a lot easier to organize these sorts of efforts.
How exciting for you? What's the best part of hearing those shortwave radio people communicate back to you?
Oh, the best part is just going through all the tweets that people send back to me, basically of their videos playing radio static. And they ask, is this
that
HAARP?
sounds really boring.
Oh, I don't know.
Like, oh my God, here it comes.
The,
what does it sound like? Can you give us an
it's
impression?
The Secret Lives of Scientists.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes there's a boop, the different things.
And so like, I got it.
They got it. Yeah.
And then you use that data set to do what?
Well, that kind of stuff is more ad hoc. It's interesting. It's fun. So what I'm here at AGU talking about is the use of the WHISPER network, the weak signal radio propagation reporter network. And so they're hams that are basically, they have their radios transmitting and receiving specially encoded signals, signals that say, who am I, where am I, and what power am I transmitting at? And then whenever they receive a signal, that information gets uploaded to a database, and so they can build up real-time maps of HF radio propagation, which is still a hard problem today. We're not very good at being able to predict where an HF radio signal will propagate from one point on the planet to another, and with any real reliability. And so HAARP being a big shortwave radio station, we can basically encode that same signal, but we can point the antenna north, east, west, south, we can change the polarization, we can change the power, and then using all of these instruments that the hams have provided for free, basically, begin to create new data sets that improve our models of HF radio propagation.
And well, it's not for free. They're putting their time and their energy into it, right?
Energy,
it's like,
to us.
Yeah, they're donating that stuff to science, and sometimes just figuring something out and playing in the science, like how wet is this water? How many stones can I pile on top of each other? That's fun.
It's fun, and not only are some of them participating without even knowing it, a lot of them are participating because they really want to participate. They want to have new and interesting things to listen to, and they love to listen to HAARP, for example. That's a very famous facility within the field, and very unique, and they're excited when they actually get that spot, and they've heard HAARP, and it's uploaded to the database, and it's a point of pride.
I think the last sort of thing that I'm curious to talk to you about right now, anyway, is the importance of the global computer network, the internet, the World Wide Web, to let this science happen. what does that mean? Oh, look, you dropped a little bit. Let me fix you a little bit because my droopy thing now. I want to make sure. Sorry, audience, for making that. No, that would be. Yeah, just go down as you go down. How important is the internet to current science?
Oh, it's very important. So, for example, people have to know when they're just sending in these ad hoc reports about what HAARP is doing, they need to know what frequency to listen to and when. Similar with Whisper, if they want to know when to turn on their systems, they need to know that. And through like social media, like Twitter, and also the traditional media as well, those are really important tools for letting people know what's happening at what frequency and when we're transmitting. And particularly, I've been using Twitter just because it's very easy and quick to send out small bits of information, because that's all we need to send out, and it's freely available, and people can even view it without a Twitter account.
And we're on there right now.
And we're on there right now.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you, Andrew.
It's great to talk to you as always. Have a great AGU. Are you doing other stuff besides this one, or after today you're just off on your own exploring?
I'm co-author on a couple other talks and posters and things, but otherwise our secret meetings.
The secret meetings, quote unquote.
Which will be right here in the poster hall tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Andrew.